In this video, I want to show you how I got rid of my fear of selling and how I help some of my students and clients do the same thing so that way you can sell more products. So if you want some more help because you're scared to sell your product, you get anxiety, you get fear, your hands start sweating when it's time to actually sell somebody the thing that you're looking to sell, make sure you take notes in this video because I'm going to show you everything that I know. So I remember when I first got started in business, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, at the end of 2017, going into 2018, I wanted to get in sales because I was in college. I was 21, I was a sophomore, and I was trying to figure out a way to make money. So when I figured out my thing and I had a product and I was going out to sell it, I realized very quickly it wasn't just about having a great business idea. It wasn't just about having a good product. I actually had to go out and sell that to people. And when I started having to talk about it, I realized that what I had was good, but what I was talking about and how I presented it was trash because I was literally scared to sell. To the point where in my first year, I didn't even make more than $1,000 because I didn't understand the skill of selling because I was literally afraid. And you may be watching this video and you may like, Jordan, I'm super afraid to sell. Because most people who are in business, they're introverts. I'm an introverted person. I don't really like being around a lot of people. I don't really like talking to people. If I could be in my own world, in my own space, that would be me. But I had to get over that in order to put myself in a position to win. And I realized some key principles and key things that were making me afraid to sell. And once I changed those habits, literally everything changed to the point where in my 13 month in business, I made more than I made in that entire year, first year combined. And then to the point where we were doing over 6 figures in sales every month and about 3 or 4 years later. And what I did was very simple. The first thing you have to realize is where the fear of selling actually comes from. Number one, you don't even have a real fear of selling. Like, there's no such thing as a fear of selling because the definition of fear is the fear is when it's an actual present danger. So, like if you were getting robbed, that would be real fear because there's an actively present danger. If you were, about to get in a car accident, that would be real fear. But when you're selling somebody, that's not real fear. What that is anxiety because we play a negative film in our head of something going bad. So before I would sell people in my first year, I would be thinking about what if this person doesn't buy? What if they say no? What if this? I'm pre-playing negative outcomes in my head. So when I actually have a chance to get in front of somebody who I'm going to sell, it usually didn't end well because I was already thinking about the negative response. And you have to stop thinking about the negative response because that's what's going to keep you from selling. Like, it was a question that I used to ask my students and clients all the time. And that question was this: what are they going to do to you if they say no? What's the worst that can happen? It's kind of like how dudes are when they're talking to women. If you see a beautiful woman that you are going to approach at the bar, you get nervous. And then your friends tell you, bro, what's the worst thing that can happen? She says no. But we don't like the fear of rejection. We don't like being told no. So a lot of times men or women at that fact, they don't approach that person that they actually want to approach because they're scared to say no. The same thing as selling. So I realized I didn't have a fear of selling. What I was anxious about selling, but I had a fear of rejection. I had a problem with rejection. And most people in business, most people are introverts, most humans have a problem with rejection. They have a fear of rejection. Why? Because as human psychology, we all want to fit in, right? That's how we have culture. That's how we have community because we want to fit in. As humans, it is our goal, our job, our nature is to have community and relationships. Like if you're a Christian, you believe in the Bible. That's why God said it's not a good thing for man to be alone. Why? Because it is in our DNA, it is in our nature to have community. So in having community, what do you not want to do? You don't want to be rejected. That is a survival instinct we have come up with from the thousands of years that humans have been, thousands, hundreds of thousands, whatever, millions of years that humans have been on this planet. We want to feel accepted. We do not want to get rejected. And back in the caveman days, being rejected meant that you were exiled from the community and you were going to die. Now, in 2024, if you're getting rejected, it doesn't mean you're going to be exiled of the community. It just means somebody told you no. Somebody said, I don't want to move forward in this. So I had to realize that I had a problem with rejection. So how did I fix that problem to help me sell more? The first thing I realized in that first year of selling, after month after month after month of being told no, being scared, fumbling on my pitch, fumbling on talking to people, not making that connection, the first thing I had to realize was, Jordan, they're not telling me no. They're not rejecting me. They're rejecting my business. They're rejecting the product. They're rejecting the opportunity, or whatever you sell. No matter if you're a coach or consultant, if you sell clothes, it doesn't matter. You have to get in your head and you have to realize they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the business. They're rejecting the opportunity. They're rejecting the product that you're selling. So when I made that connection, now I'm thinking to myself, well, instead of thinking about them rejecting me, I'm saying they're only saying no to what I have to offer. If you, example is, if you had a shirt and you went to your friend and said, hey, do you want this shirt? And they said no, you're not going to think, oh my God, they hate me. They don't think I'm good enough. No, you're going to be like, oh, they just don't like the shirt, so they don't want to buy it. That's it. But as business owners and as entrepreneurs, when we're selling a product, our first thought is, if they're telling us no, they're saying that we suck because we spent the time, we spent the labor on creating something. So now that we've created something and we're looking at our creation, or we're looking at what we're selling, we think that it is a part of us. When no, it is an extension of you. Yes, maybe because it's your IP, it's your idea. But at the end of the day, they're not looking at you and saying, oh, you're awful because you created this and I said no. No, they're just saying, I don't want what you have to offer. The second principle I had to realize after I realized, okay, I have a problem with rejection. The second thing I realized was I had to figure out, why do people buy? And when you figure out why people buy, your fear of selling goes down tremendously. And the only reason that people buy is because of this, because they feel like buying. Ask yourself, why did you buy that chocolate bar at the store? Why did you buy that watch on your wrist? Why did you buy the shirt that you have on your back? It's because you felt like buying it. So once you realize the only reason that people buy is because they feel like it, now you come into a stance where, okay, if they feel like buying this, if they feel like they need this, they're going to buy it. It took a lot of the pressure off of saying, okay, people want to buy it because I make it sound good, because I'm telling them I have all these features, because I'm telling them I'll do all these things, because I give them all these promises and guarantees. No, that's not why people buy. Can I make them feel like buying? So for most entrepreneurs, they don't understand how to make people feel like buying. So we understand that we have a fear because we're scared of rejection. We're scared of being told no. We understand that now, okay, if I get these people to feel like buying, that's a win for me. Now, how do I get people to feel like buying? And this one thing right here is probably what got me over my fear of selling. And that was this. I realized that I was not the solution. I was a solution giver. So I started thinking of myself like a doctor. One of my mentors told me that your job is to be a doctor. It's not as like a doctor would do. Your job is to give the prescription, right? When you go to the doctor and your stomach hurts, you tell them all the symptoms. My stomach hurts. I've been throwing up. I've been doing this, that. I feel nauseous. And then they write them down, and then they give you a prescription for what you need. But because you're the doctor and you focused on all the problems that they have, now when you get into the solution, now they're more receptive and saying, okay, I feel like I should take this. If you went to the doctor and told them all things wrong with you and said, listen, if you take this medicine, you'll be cured. The pain will go away. You're going to feel like buying. You're going to want to take that solution. And then if they don't take the solution, then you're just like, well, I did all I could do. I told you everything you did. I focused on helping you. So now you don't feel the necessity of taking responsibility for them saying no. So when I started thinking like a doctor and I started in sales, asking better questions, focusing on, let me make sure I help them solve their problem, then it made it easier to sell. But one thing that me and my student did, one thing we started doing that helped tremendously getting over the fear of sales, we started to gamify the rejection. So I knew rejection was a lot of the people that I taught and the clients I teach, how to build their mindset, how to perform higher. I knew that rejection was probably the number one thing stopping them from selling more. I knew rejection was number one thing that stops most people because they don't want to feel stupid. They don't want to look dumb in the public eye. They don't want to be the person that is not the accepted. People don't want to feel stupid. People don't want to feel less than. People don't want to feel dumb. So They play it safe. So one thing I did was I gamified the rejection. So what did I do? Me and my mentee, what we started doing was we started gamifying the no's. Every morning we would talk, and I would say, how many no's can we get told today? We would have a race. Who can get told no the most today? Because when I started taking what I felt was a negative and turning into a positive and saying, my goal is to get 20 no's today. My goal is to get 30 no's today. I knew in my head that if I got 20 no's, I was going to get more yeses than I would have if I was trying to only focus on getting yeses. And also I realized if I focus on getting no's and I say, okay, how many no's I'm going to get? Now I'm going to start getting better because I'm putting in the practice and the reps. So now I didn't have a negative feeling about no. I was actually looking to seek the discomfort, to seek the no's, to seek out the rejection that I was going to face. And then as I started getting told no more and more, and I started practicing more and more, now hearing no and being told no didn't hurt as bad. It didn't sting as bad. To eventually to the point where I didn't care at all whether I got a yes or no. And that brings me to the last point. If you're fear of selling, it's because you care too much about the outcome. And I'm telling you right now, you cannot care about the specific outcome if you want to get good at sales, if you want to sell more, if you want to get over that fear or that anxiety, or you feel like you're overwhelmed, you're stressed because you don't know how you're going to move your product. You cannot care about the outcome. All you have to care about is that people give you an answer. I didn't care if it was a yes. I didn't care if it was no. I just wanted to get an answer. And then I could take that data and use that data to make better sales decisions. Say, okay, maybe I have to say this differently. This keeps coming up. Let me make sure I address this problem. Maybe make sure I talk about this objection more. Maybe make sure let me handle this objection like this. And when I started focusing on that and not caring about the outcome, just caring that people were making a decision. I didn't want a maybe. I wanted a clear-cut yes or no, because that led me into the right path of becoming better. And when you start doing those things, your fear of selling is going to go down. You don't have a fear of selling. You're anxious and you're creating negative scenarios over and over again in your head. And that's why most people, they don't live in the future. They live in the past, and they keep replaying the past thinking that's the present, because they keep replaying the negative outcomes because they haven't done the activity long enough for there to be enough positive outcomes for them to replay in their head. So now when I get on sales, I'm thinking about the hundreds of people, the thousands of people that I've sold my product to. So now I'm not thinking about people getting told no. I'm thinking about seeing yes, where my close rate, my sales rate was going from only 10% of people to buying to, at the height, about 70 to 80% of people who I was talking to were saying yes. Why? Because I focused so much on just doing the activity, not being anxious over the negative outcome that could come, and then saying, okay, I'm just going to search out an answer. I don't care if it's yes or no. I'm just going to do the work, and then that's going to get me to the results. So listen, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, you hit the comment, you hit the like, you drop a comment of one thing that you're going to do and implement to get you to the results that you want to get, and I'll see you in the next video.